Good morning, everybody. We are in New York picking up a
Yay.
load. We'll tell you what we've been doing the last couple of days in just a second. We're being loaded right now. But what we're going to talk about today is anti-gel. All right. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are in Harriman, New York, being loaded. I forgot what the name of this place is. But they're finally loading the Stevens next to us. Anyway, I'm expecting a call any minute. It's going to be a short video, hopefully. Last couple of days we've gone through. We came up to Maine, deliver a load. Last 3 loads we've had have been get there as soon as you can. This one is a surprise. Get there as soon as you can. And the last load we had that got us to Harriman is we had to go up and further into Maine after we dropped. Another driver had a moose strike. Mother and the calf were coming across the road, and it damaged his truck, so I had to take his load and bring it in here to Harriman. Actually, less than a mile away from where we're picking up. We dropped yesterday. So let's talk about anti-gel real quick. When do you need to use it? Okay, it really depends. A lot more and more truck stops just haven't even started treating their fuel till it hits 0 degrees. One of them even told us -10. We don't treat our fuel till it hits -10 because we have enough in the tanks that it won't gel.
That's ridiculous.
Very ridiculous. What I would suggest, because we have had here at Prime, we just last week when that cold snap hit, we got a fleet message stating that just that morning, just the first, it was before 10 a.m. I think it was 5 or 6 a.m. We got this message saying that 15 trucks had gel fuel. That was just that morning. Okay, yeah, bumping. You'll see the bumping of them loading. So what we suggest is the same thing that Prime suggests. If you notice it's going to drop below 20 degrees, treat your fuel. It is a lot cheaper if you can get it from your from a terminal. It's about for these I paid $100 for 3, but it's a lot cheaper spending, even if you spend $30 to $60 to treat 250 gallons of fuel, and that's like for 3 bottles. It's cheaper than that bill for having a mechanic come out, flush the lines, put anti-gel in it, and reprime the system. And then if you go to start your truck in the morning and it's cold and it doesn't start, don't try again. Shut it down. Call road assist. If you try 2 and 3 times, you're going to put that gel all the way up into those fuel injectors, and then you have fuel injector cleaning and all that crap. I mean, we're talking several $1,000s in repairs that could have been alleviated with just $30. Most anti-gel is a lot cheaper than that. Okay, so what we have been using is the Penrate Winter Power Plus. It says 32 ounces, treats 250 gallons. Okay. With that, you want to take and put half a cup in your reefer and 1 3/4 cup in each tank.
It will not hurt if you put 2 cups, just because you don't have a 3/4 cup measurer.
It won't hurt, but 32 ounces you might run a little shy on the passenger side. What I do is I put half a cup in the reefer, then I come up and I use a half cup measure. I left it in my box, and I put 3.5 of those in my tank. That's 1 3/4 cup. Then I go pour the rest in my passenger tank. Then I fill up my tanks, and then I fill up my reefer. You do not need anti-gel in your DEF. Your DEF tank, you should never add anti-gel to DEF. And if it starts to solidify, the DEF tank has a heater. Start your truck about 5 minutes earlier. You're going to want that heat coming out of your vents anyway. Now, that's for this one. Now, they've run out of that, and they've been giving us power service. This is a 64 ounce, treating 250 gallons.
Which that was the one that was 3 bottles for
$100,
$100.
right. 3 bottles is for $100.
It's a bigger bottle than
Right.
that other one. The other one was cheaper. But
These were about $6 a bottle.
Yeah.
And we had 3 of them.
Yeah.
And this is our last bottle. We've only had to use it twice. Okay? This right here, we're going to double 1 cup in the reefer. Okay? And what is it? 3.5 cups in each tank. Okay? This is the same people that make Diesel 911. Diesel 911 is not an anti-gel. It is a degeller, which means you use it after your fuel is gelled. It's also a great fuel injector cleaner. Diesel 911 is. But this stuff works great. Now, a lot of people on here are going to say, oh, what about Howes? What about this? What about that? We have been told by a technician at one of the terminals, I'm not going to name any names, but he said, because I specifically asked why, and I was asking the attendant why we were specifically told not to use Howes. And the technician was right behind me, and he says, man, we don't use Howes because there's something in it that voids a factory warranty. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I did no research on that. I hold no responsibility for that. So don't tear me up in the comments saying, Howes is the best. That's all you ever use. But this is the second company that we've worked for now that says do not put Howes in our tanks.
Yeah, it's kind of, once you get told the same thing a couple times, you're like, I'm not going to chance it.
Right. And so, treat early, treat often. Now, something that we do to help save some of that is if it's going to drop below 20 degrees where we're at, okay, or where we're going, because that's where a lot of people get caught with the gelling fuel. They fuel in Florida, and then a day or two later they're in Maine.
Where it's cold.
It's stupid. You should think. I mean, I'm not calling anybody stupid, but
No.
Some of the actions we do can be categorized as stupid. If you're going from a warm climate to a cold climate, the warm climate did not treat fuel. Okay. Now, when you go to fuel, I have an advantage. I have a lovely wife who will call our fueling stop and ask them, have you started treating your fuel? Do not rely on the fact that their website says we treat fuel from November to March. Because I will tell you something. Nobody started treating fuel in November.
No, everyone we called said no.
Unless you went up to Alaska or Canada, no one was treating fuel, even though their website said they were. I always call because some of these places, like right now in New York, is 40-something degrees?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they receive fuel today and they're not going to get cold for another 3 days, they're not going to treat it.
Nope.
Okay? We've talked to truck stops. They say we save money as much as we can. We do not treat unless we have to. Then we pour the treatment in. So remember, the truck stops treating. It's usually not the fuel, supplier that treats. So if it's going to get warm, they're going to stop treating. Then whenever it gets cold again, they're going to treat. But the fuel in your truck may not be treated. So if
you accidentally add treatment to fuel that's already treated, you're not going to do harm to your truck. I mean, it's better safe than sorry. So if they don't know if it's treated, or if they tell you, I doubt it, treat. Because if you don't treat it with the proper amount, you're going to be stuck somewhere, and you're going to have a shop clean out gelled fuel.
And double and triple treated fuel is not going to hurt. It's when you get to 5 and 6 times that it's really going to hurt. And it will burn a hole in your pistons if you put way too much.
Right.
But that would be putting 2 of these bottles in each of my tanks. That's a huge amount. In the old days, they used to treat fuel before anti-gel with a gallon of kerosene. They went to the store, bought kerosene, put a gallon, or I think it was every 30 gallons of fuel, and that would keep it from gelling. We don't do that anymore. But I can tell you that when you open most of these bottles, it has a strong smell of kerosene. So I'm pretty sure it's still like a major ingredient. But like we're saying, $16, $20, $30, it's a lot cheaper than several $1,000s.
And then being stuck for a couple days.
Right.
Because they're not going to be able to get it cleaned out the day you arrive, 9 out of 10 chance. Because
usually when you get towed in for gel fuel, there's several people in front of you with the same problem.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it yourself, you try to start your truck, it didn't start. Stop, open your tank, stick a stick in there, stir it around. If it feels like oatmeal, like you're stirring oatmeal, your fuel is gelled. You can put 911 in your tanks. Wait several hours. And then, but that's not going to degel your line. It's just going to degel your tanks. Okay? If you've only tried once, you probably don't have it up in your fuel injectors yet. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to crack open your hood, crack open that fuel filter, and you're going to pour some some 911 into that. Then you're going to close it off and you're going to wait. You're going to wait. Because more than likely, you don't have a pump to pump all that gel out. So you got to wait for that anti-gel to spread through all the system. You wait about 3 hours usually, and then try to start your truck again.
That's not an exact time. And if you don't know what you're doing, not something to just practice on, because that's fuel and you do it wrong and you hook it back up wrong and you can cause a fire under your hood. You can cause a lot of things.
Yeah, you get a leak from your fuel filter. You can start a fire because the stuff that you're going to put in there to degel is very flammable. While diesel fuel is explosive, it's not really that flammable. I mean, if you've ever poured diesel like on an ant pile or on wood and you try to light it, you need some other propellant to light it. Then once it's lit, it burns. Well, this is
shrinking.
She's shrinking.
The seat's losing air because the truck's off.
But anyway, so you want to do it properly. And if you do it wrong and you suck up some of that gelled fuel into those fuel injectors, they're going to have to take your engine apart, pull that fuel rail, and clean each and every fuel injector. Then they can put an air hose on it, and can blow all that gelled fuel back into the tank or into the filter. Again, replace whenever they do this. I don't care if you've already put in, degeller and it's turned back to a liquid. They're replacing everything. Okay, it's a technician shop. They're gonna get as much money as possible.
Not just that, they're also held liable. They're held liable if they fix it and there's still some gel in there and it comes through and makes more damage because they didn't properly change out all the pieces.
They have to, by law, follow. I mean, of course, you go to a little shade tree mechanic. He's not going to worry about that. He's not worried about getting sued.
But if you go to a shop like a Love's or a TA, any of them, they have to follow that because of the liability of what can occur if they didn't clean it out properly.
Right, and she knows. She used to run a technician shop. I did too, but it was many, many, many years ago. But they're held liable. So what they're going to do is they're going to replace the fuel filter. They're going to replace the fuel lines, and I mean sometimes they'll even drain the tanks and fill it back with fuel. So you got to look at all that expense, just because you didn't want to spend $20 on this or $30 on this. I mean, come on, guys, use your head. You're in business. Invest. And if you're a company driver, When they tell you put this in, put it in. Because if you didn't, you can lose your job.
Yep.
Number one. Number two, and I know we didn't go over this. If you use anti-gel, and I know I'm covering her pretty face, you need to put it in right before you fuel. Adding that fuel mixes it in so that it works effectively.
Definitely don't wait till the end. Oh, I forgot my anti-gel. Let me put it in after you've already filled up.
Right. And if you have a Webasto heater, turn it on. It needs to run consistently for about 3 hours to make sure that anti-gel is all the way up the line. Reefers, about 30 minutes, you're good. 30 minutes to an hour running, you're good. So put it on fuel hog, continuous, and run it. Okay? Your engine. You use so much fuel, 5 minutes of idling your engine will put that anti-gel at your fuel injectors. All right. Is there anything else you want to add?
Be responsible, guys. It's better to prepare than to pay afterward.
It's like the old saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You can spend $15 to $30 now, or $7,000 to $20,000 later. I don't know what they're going to charge you. It depends on where you're at. The demographics and all. There's a good chance you're going to pay several $1,000s.
If you're up here in New York, I'm sure you're going to pay a lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well, as always, keep your shiny side up, your rubber side down, and your mirrors between the ditches. We'll catch you on the flip side.